a fantastic race meeting for the second IAME Winter Cup. It is going to be one heck of a weekend with 2 fantastic race days and 22 races in the first of those days right here, right now. Hello to everybody watching on the stream on IAMEEuroseries.com and Telemundi Media, and to those listening on Downforce UK around the globe, wherever you may be. Jake Sanson here in the commentary box, overlooking the starting gantry. And my goodness me, it is going to be a hectic day at the office. 22 races in total, and we will have some absolutely magnificent motor racing to talk about from the stars of tomorrow and those drivers who genuinely could be the next Fernando Alonso's, Sebastian Vettel's and Fernando Alonso's. It really is going to be an amazing set of races today. We will do the X30 Seniors, X30 Juniors, X30 Minis and X30 Super Shifters in the 4 separate classes. Last year we ran the IAME Winter Cup for the first time with 58 drivers. Well, this year we've beaten that by 300%. We have over 170 drivers here for this second weekend in the championship's history, the IAME Winter Cup. It is an amazing spectacle. And we have so many drivers from all over the world. They have travelled to be here for this magnificent one-day meeting, one-weekend meeting, I should say. We have them travelled all around the world, from Spain, from Portugal, from Great Britain, from Denmark, from Norway, from Sweden, from Finland, from Holland, Germany, France, Italy, and even further afield than that to the likes of Singapore, Hong Kong, even America, Japan, and even further afield as well. It's been an amazing weekend thus far. We have several drivers in the X30 Seniors who are within a few tenths of a second of each other. It's been absolutely spectacular thus far, and we have seen some incredibly close lap times in yesterday's qualifying practice. Let's talk a little bit about the X30 Seniors, who will start us off in yesterday's timed sessions. You would not believe it, but it is incredibly close between the 87 competitors who are here, with 62 of them covered by less than a second. Yep, that is 62 drivers covered by less than a second in yesterday's time practice. The ultimate fastest time yesterday was from KR Sports' Joe Turney, who did a 56.617 for Great Britain. His countryman Dean McDonald in Strawberry Racing's Tony Kart did a .031 deficit of a lap time, 56.648 yesterday. It was the Belgian Rens van Pelt for Eurokarting who was there in 3rd position overall in the times, with the Frenchman Arnaud Malizia for Treffler Racing in 4th place from Mark Kimber for Strawberry Racing, and Xavier Hansheim, the Belgian, for TYS Racing. In the top 10 as well, we had the Brit Oliver Clark for Litchfield Racing, Team Evolution's Finn Levi Luntucanto, Sam McDonnell, the Irishman, for Strawberry Racing, and Britain's Louis Westover for Piers Sexton Racing. It's been an amazing weekend thus far for these guys in the X30 Seniors, and there's plenty more drivers to talk about. Ruben Moyer, very strong indeed, local hero here, in 11th overall in yesterday's qualifying. Clayton Ravenscroft was 12th from the Swede Hans Morin. Britain's Jordan Brown-Nutley, so successful in the early part of yesterday and still very much in the mix for Dan Holland Racing. Enric Bordas-Cotes, the Kids to Win competitor from not too far away from here. Also, the FA Racing Works team is here with their star Carlos Saval. Ireland's John Norris is up in the top 20 yesterday as well. And all of those drivers are within half a second of each other, would you believe? Then we have Sam White, NM Racing, in 18th position in yesterday's qualifying, from Patrick Rundqvist in the KR Sport Car, and Jorge Pescador for Praga España Motorsport. Then we have Alejandro Lajas Loop for the Unimatricular team, who are also based here in Spain. Fred Eriksson for Strawberry Racing, the Swede, doing a very good job yesterday. Juan Carlos Hernandez Ruiz for FA Racing Spain was 23rd from Nicolas Bayard, who is very strong indeed, the Belgian, for RSD Karting. Then we have the Brit Henry Laws for KR Sport, and the Spaniard Philip Vava in there as well. Lucas Guerrero's own racing school driver Francisco Moreno was 27th yesterday, with the Irishman Ross Hayes there in 28th. The Filipino racer Jacob Ang just made the top 30, along with Carlos Martinez Escrujia. The Brit Morgan Porter was 31st in yesterday's qualifying. Antonio Herreras de Dios in the Teo Martin Jr. team was in there in 32nd, from Daniel Mathia, Jason Lockwood, Christopher Shani, and Vincent Rua, 2 Frenchmen there, very, very strong. The Estonians, Sim Liedmar, Saul Robinson of Great Britain, Sebastian Degrand and William Godefroid, both of whom are Belgian. Gus Lawrence of Great Britain. Lucky Treves, the very strong German ace, he should be really interesting to watch. Philip Rawson of Great Britain, Luis Beloso of Spain, Hugo Va of France, and then we have Sylvester Alexeyeves of Poland, Etienne Chili of France, Evan Becerra of Belgium, The very strong female racer Matilda Olsson from Sweden, racing under the Strawberry Racing banner. The Spaniard Oscar Palomo, Finland's Toni Häränen, Niels Kuhlen of Holland, and then we have Kamil Donic of the Unique Racing Team for Poland. We also have Britain's Matthew Gilliland for Persistence Motorsport. He's in the mix as well. Frenchman Enzo Giraud. Then we have the American-Japanese star under the British Racing banner of Rhys Ushijima, but he is American-Japanese. Scott Jackson for Team Avago. He is of Great British nationality. The Dutchman Joey van Splunteren for Super B. Antoine Perceval, the Frenchman from Jensen Brown. He made 60th position in the Coles Racing Kart, still within a second of the ultimate fastest time though. The Spaniard Alejandro Martinez for Unimatricula, Rufus Hunt of Great Britain for Fusion Motorsport, Jack Aliff of Switzerland for Spirit Racing, Ben Wooldridge for Utilita Energy was there on his Alonso chassis. The Swede Isaac Valtonen, the Finn Toisko of Aska, Mark French of Ireland, Axel Bengtsson of Sweden, Riku Samanautio of Finland, Masatoru Wada of Japan, Tyler Reed of Great Britain for Thule Motorsport, the local hero for Octavio Tenorio, Kevin Tenorio of Spain, literally lives a few minutes down the road from here, DJ Liveris, Dionysius Liveris, the Greek racer for Dimes Racing, the British lady Kira Scott for Thule Motorsport, Rivaldo van der Westerlaken of Holland for the Dimes Racing team, Thomas Ward of Great Britain, Lester So of Hong Kong, Manel Galofre of Spain, Robin Knutson of Sweden, Boris Jung of Hong Kong, Tsihum Tsang of Hong Kong, Lena Bueller of Switzerland, Stuart Middleton of Great Britain, Jack Tomelin of Great Britain as well, Simon Henrard of Belgium, Teddy Williams of Great Britain, and Stefan Planchamp of Switzerland. And I genuinely don't know how I got through them all. Yes, that is all of the competitors in the X30 Senior. There are an incredible, phenomenal 87 of them this weekend, and they are all going to test their wits against each other in the hope that they will come out on top. They have been split into different groups based on how well they have performed, and there are 5 groups in all, A, B, C, D and E, and this is basically judged based on who is going to be where in each group. Now basically they are split up from their qualifying times, and the grids will be determined by which group each driver is in and where they were classified in yesterday's practice. So at the first heat is Group A and Group B alongside each other, and that means that Joe Turney and Dean McDonald will be on the front row of the starting grid from the Belgian Xavier Hansheim and the Brit Oliver Clark. Then we have Ruben Moyer of Spain and Clayton Ravenscroft of Great Britain on the third row. Carlos Saval and John Norris are there on row 4 from Alejandro Lajos Loop in the number 261 kart, and Fred Eriksson, and they round out the top 10. We'll do the full grid in just a moment, but we are getting ourselves very much in the offing now for the first of 22 races around the Circuito Lucas Guerrero in the Ayuntamiento de Xiva, just outside the city of Valencia. And what a stunning day it is. It's not quite as hot as it was yesterday at this point in the day. There's a few more clouds around, and that could make things particularly interesting as the day progresses. We are not expected rain at any point over the course of the weekend, according to my weather forecast, but the wind is changeable in this part of the country, and it should make things a little bit spicy if it suddenly decides to be a little bit more interesting over the course of the day. It was perfectly bone dry yesterday. It is set to be today and tomorrow. But you never know. It's motorsport, and particularly it's karting. The weather can turn on a dial, but here in Valencia, the circuit is bone dry. It's been rubbing in very well over the last 72 hours with testing on Thursday, practice and qualifying yesterday, and now we are ready for racing today for the first of 2 straight days. It's a 10-lap race for the X30 seniors in the qualifying heats, and now we can talk you through the entirety of the starting grid. And what a grid. Joe Turney and Dean McDonald on the front row from Xavier Hansheim and Oliver Clark on the second. Ruben Moyer and Clayton Ravenscroft on the third row from Carlos Saval and John Norris. Alejandro Lajos Loop and Fred Eriksson are on the 5th row, with Philip Vava and Francisco Moreno on the 6th row. Morgan Porter is alongside Antonio Herreras de Dios, with Vincent Rouard and Sim Liedmar on the 8th row from Gus Lawrence and Luki Treves. And then we have Sylvester Alexievas and Etienne Chelly rounding out the top 20. Then it's Toni Häränen and Niels Kuhlen on row 11 from Rhys Ushijima and Scott Jackson on the 12th row. Alejandro Martinez and Rufus Hunt is on the 13th row. Toisko of Aska and Mark French are on row 14. Tyler Reed and Kevin Tenorio are on the 15th row. Thomas Ward and Lester So are on row 16. Tsihum Tsang and Lena Bueller are on row 17 from Teddy Williams and Stefan Planchamp. The karts go out onto the circuit, and we are ready to rock and roll for the first of 22 races today, and a whole host more of them tomorrow. This is going to be the first test for the drivers to see just how well they can cope with the pressure. A very fast, technical, challenging circuit, this one. Very fast and flowing. My only experience of it is walking it today and yesterday and mucking about with it on my simulator. But I tell you, it is an incredibly fast and technically challenging circuit that really pushes driver to the limit. There are two incredibly long straights on the start-finish straight, and then just before it, there is another long straight with two very fast, flat-out, sweeping right-handers. And this is a real kart breaker. If you're not tuned and dialed in correctly, you really will have an entertaining day at the office for the wrong reasons. So the drivers have got to put themselves into position, and so they will make their way around the circuit and then form up in formation around the circuit, led as they are by the ultimate fastest driver yesterday, the 257 of Joe Turney. The drivers are getting themselves ready for action on the formation lap. Obviously, they've got to be very careful about driving standards and track limits. They've been very strong and strict about this, making sure that all the drivers know what they can and can't do around the circuit. And for the second annual IAME Winter Cup, this is a much bigger event than last year. As we stated, there were only about 58 drivers competing last year. This year, we have 157. It is absolutely astonishing how popular this event has become just in the space of 12 months. And we have some absolutely spectacular racing drivers from all over the world who have come here to prove that they are the top dog and the number one for the future. So as these guys put themselves into position, it is Turney and McDonald, Hansame and Clark, Moya and Ravenscroft, Saval and Norris, Lausloop and Eriksson, Vava and Moreno, Porter and Herreras de Dios, Rua and Liedmar, Lawrence and Treves, Alexievas and Shelley, Heronen and Kulan, Ushijima and Jackson, Martinez and Hunt, Avaska and French, Reed and Tenorio, Ward and So, Tsang and Bula, and then Williams and Planchamp. The karts are all now in formation as they come to that final chicane, and we are ready for a 10-lap sprint and the first race of the weekend. They put themselves into position. They need to make sure that they are finally in position along the grid slots. If they come out of those positions, then there will be a penalty. Wait for it, and we are racing. Here we go. Fantastic start. And it's a good getaway from Joe Turney. No problems at all as he launches into the first corner. He holds the initial lead. Good start as well as they wake their way through. No dramas and no contretemps. Second position. That is already a bit of a fight as Joe Turney's going to have a little bit of a war, and he nearly gets bumped wide as they battle for position. And up the inside, there's contact, and Turney is nerfed sideways. He manages to get himself back into third position, but that was a little bit hectic, so the drivers battle away, and Turney has now got himself into third position as the field all fights its way, twisting and turning through the first few corners, onto the back straight, into the left right as they come off the technical part of the circuit, and right up near the front, that looks like Dean McDonald has got himself slotted into a good position as he now gives chase for the lead. Down the back straight. This is going to be a really interesting first race as the drivers battle in for position down to the chicane for the final time of the lap. This is going to be a really interesting one as they come back onto the home straight, and leading the way, it is the 330 out in front. It's a good start for Xavier Hansame. Dean McDonald in second from Turney, Clark, Saval, Lausloop, Vava, Norris and Porter. Francisco Moreno in the top 10. And there's a little bit of battling and jostling for position already as out in front, Dean McDonald has taken the lead. Not a bad move there as he gets past Xavier Hansame. So it's McDonald, Hansame and Turney out in front. Fourth position, that looks to me like Oliver Clark still hanging in there in fourth position. Battling away for the position in front of Saval, Lausloop, Vava and Norris. But he's got three local Spaniards pushing very hard indeed to try and move further forward. And he now knows that he's going to have to try and break away. But Xavier Hansame is splitting the front row men. Dean McDonald in the lead and Joe Turney in third position. And we've got an off on the exit of turn 2. So somebody has parked the kart, and that looks to me like it is game over for one of the KR Sport, one of the Cosmic suited drivers. Oh dear, that has not gone well. So we'll pick up the pieces and figure out who that is. But now Joe Turney's making the move for Xavier Hansame for second position into turn 1. Nicely done there from Joe Turney, and shuts the door nicely on Xavier Hansame. And we got contact at the final chicane as well. Two karts have come a cropper in the middle of it. And it looks like one of them is done and dusted. The one that gets away is one of the Unimatricular karts. That is the 260 involved in the middle of that one. And that is Alejandro Martinez. So Martinez is out of the race. Was certainly out of the running. Down at the back as McDonald continues to lead the race, and Joe Turney, having got past Xavier Hansame, is now trying to move further forward. But it's Ruben Moya who has not come through, and nor too, I'm afraid to say. We seem to have lost another couple of drivers as well. It looks like the 215 that has pulled off the circuit a little further round, or is that the 218 actually? That could be, no, it is the 215. That is Tony Hodainen. So Tony Hodainen looks like he is out of the race. And we seem to have had the 369 of Thomas Ward not come around either. So that is 3 retirements now in Ruben Moya, Thomas Ward and Tony Hodainen. So Dean McDonald leads the way from Joe Turney, Xavier Hansen, then it's Clark, Lahosloop, Vava, Norris, Moreno, Eriksson, Porter, Lawrence, Liedmar, Herreras de Dios. Saval is all the way down to 14th position now. So Carlos Saval definitely getting a little bit of a raw end of the deal as he now drops himself at a 14th position. He's going to have to try and fight his way back into contention once more. Great battles all the way through the field as they snake their way through this magnificent Lucas Guerrero circuit. But it's McDonald, Turney and Hansheim who are working out in front. And now we've got Oliver Clark breaking free of the train. And he is trying to step up the attack towards the top 3. So McDonald leading, Turney second, Hansheim in third from Clark, Lahosloop, Vava, Norris, Moreno, Eriksson, Porter and Gus Lawrence. An amazing scrap of drivers at the moment as they all fight their way around this circuit. Some good battles for 5th position in particular. It's getting a little bit tough as the 250 heads that little group. Vava has got past Lahosloop, Norris in there from Moreno, Eriksson, Lawrence, Liedmar now up into 11th place ahead of Morgan Porter, Herreras de Dios, Jackson, Ruas, Saval and Alexeyevas. Joe Turney taking a lot of curb on the way out of turn 4 as he tries to get closer to Dean McDonald with Xavier Hansheim hot on his tail. And Xavier Hansheim trying to make this one work. Dean McDonald out in front though. The Scot is doing an absolutely brilliant job. And Dean McDonald, of course, racing in sports cars in GT4s recently as well as in the world of senior karting. So this boy has got a massive future ahead of him. It's no secret that he wants to take on the ultimate sports car classics such as Daytona, Sebring, and of course the Le Mans 24 Hours. And he is definitely on a high to a good one here at the IAME Winter Cup.